Welcome back to Podcast Picture Stories. This feature will be briefly on Greg Hill, now that he was on Dirty Knobs, exposing the dirty truth about the sport of BMX. If you haven't seen that episode on, quote, Dirty Knobs podcast, tune in. We find it extremely disturbing. As we pan out, we have Greg Hill in the picture. And I believe this was Seattle, Washington indoor, sometime back in the day, obviously. Billy Griggs, number 8. Mr. T coming through, 250. And Mr. Greg Hill on his way out of the sport back in the day. And here's what's featured. Yes, read that clearly. Yes, that's what was going on. And that blended into Greg Hill's podcast where he accused Terry, Mr. T. Tennant of using steroids. Wow. It just seems like anyone that beat Greg Hill must have been on drugs or cheating. And that's what came out of his pathetic podcast that he posted on Dirty Knobs. Most have commented behind his back and saying, sounds like he needs to talk to a real therapist. And we'll see where that goes. But anyway, great athlete, great human being. I'm glad I've patched up my differences with him for the last 20 years that we didn't talk, but we seem to be on the same page these days, spiritually. But yeah, this was what was going on back then. As we move forward, we're just going to advance. We got Billy Griggs leading the group, Mike King, Terry Tennant on GT. It looks like it's a first jump. Everyone's yanking. And we'll move on up from there. Tennant on GT. Yep, there's the fly in the rice right there, yeah. The proof is in the pudding. Oh, I never knew Terry was on GT. Well, there it is. And guess what? We won some shit. Yeah, team of the year. Number 1 team. There you go. Chicken George, Michelle Gibson, Danny Nelson, Kevin Hall, and David Milham. Yeah, and we all know who that is. Gary Ellis. He looked 50 years old back then. He was probably like 24. Interesting. So yeah, we're going to just keep going. MCS advertisement, winning. I had won 9 AA races in a row. At the time, that was close to a record. Ronnie Anderson was pissed because, he had the record and Mr. T comes through and does 9 AA wins in a row. Todd Corbett riding for Crit Plate, Mr. T, Columbus, Ohio, Christmas Classic. And dropping down, Tennant representing MCS, old school Varney glasses. Those were $75 glasses back in the day. Sporting the mustache. And, funny how things come and go. So we went through the mustache phase, the goatee, the beard. And as we all know, all the kids today are sporting the beard and the mustache again, like it's something like their own brand new. So here we go. This is a moto. Not sure why I didn't have race pants. I probably ripped them or something weird. But this is the Boss Days. This was an outdoor Reno track. That's Alex Dameron representing Moby Dick Bike Shop out of San Jose, California. And obviously Mr. T representing Boss out of Oakland. We move down. Eric Carter. Eric takes the title. Tennant gets national number 2. This was a press release. Back in the day, the magazines the papers had a little more flavor. Pics from the press, and we can read it all together. Tennant is the most unbeatable guy of the year. Just people's statements. Boom. Here we go. And we keep moving down. We go down to national number 1 cruiser. Matt Hayden should be able to do it, but Carter could come in and take it over. Tennant can win when it counts, and that's probably the most thing. It's nice sometimes being the underdog. And then here is the end results. Yeah, guess what? Tennant came through. Yeah, Hayden number 5. Wow. So anyway, that's how it happens. So yeah. So anyway, just more articles coming through. Then we drop down. We got Doug Davis, Diamondback, Mr. T on CW. And once again, Moby Dick, Alex Dameron. And this is when the sport had double jumps into the first turn. So 15-16 open. Wow. 45-16. So yeah, not a bad deal. Yep. So this was early day Bakersfield, doubles into the first turn. Now we're going to go to Reno. Look at this shot. Mikey King on Huffy, now that Huffy's back in the mix. You know, look at all that flavor. More sponsors than sponsors, you know. He's representing probably about $5,000 a month, and he's 16 years old. You know, I'm representing $500 a month, and I'm 16 years old. So, big difference in salaries back then. But yeah, amateurs got paid. We're going to move all the way down to Gillies. Gillies was a famous race in Texas. And look how much money I made. Yeah, imagine that pro purse. Tanette takes home $4,500 in prize money. Wow. Wow. I was doing pretty good back then, you know. It was pretty easy to make a easy $70,000 a year back then. And too bad I blew it on cars and girls and motorcycles. So, yeah. Dumbass. Should have bought real estate. Here we go. Tanette, Snap, and Ellis. There it is there. And we come back up. And we drop back down. And here we go, MBL number 1 Pro. He's off Bonsai. So Bonsai was a company out of Brazil. The frames were manufactured in Florida. And MCS made me an offer to come back. So that's just how things were, you know, back and forth, back and forth. So this is one of the first aluminum bikes on the pro circuit from Brazil, Bonsai. And it really got overlooked. They didn't have any advertising budget or nothing. They were just looking for people like me that were in between, and they were like, hey, you know, we'll give you $500 a month to ride our frame. You know, and if you get a picture in the magazine, we'll even pay you more. So, and we'll finish out with Boss Racing. So there it is there. Boom. Front wheel up. Catching some air. Obviously a double or triple jump. And that's it. So thanks for tuning in to Podcast Picture Stories. And we'll see you in the next episode.